What's up, everybody? Welcome to 2026, and more importantly, welcome to the 2026 season of the Prayin Slayin Podcast. This is our kickoff to our second full-time year of doing the podcast consistently. Just super excited to finally have an opportunity to do this. And man, so much awesome stuff to share with you guys today to help kick off this new year. And the most awesome part of last year, hands down, was you guys and your support of our podcast, our mission, Light the Fire Outdoors, our partners over at Light the Fire Outdoors on the business side. But man, just the listener support that we've gotten this year has been amazing. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart and all of us here at the Prayin Slayin Podcast Network, we'll get to that later. Just want to say thank you so much to everybody who's listened to an episode, those guys and gals who've been out there sharing it with buddies, anybody who's bought stuff off the Light the Fire Outdoors website to support the Prayin Slayin Podcast and our mission there, supported our overall mission. Man, or even just message me with encouragement. I've gotten several phone calls this year for some great buddies and new buddies who've just said, dude, we just love what you're doing, man, and keep it up. That's awesome to listen to. It's awesome to get some encouragement. We love the stories that we're hearing on there and just love the community you guys are building at the Prayin Slayin Podcast and the podcast network. So again, man, all of that is 100% attributed to you guys, our listeners, and thank you so much for being there to support us. And we can't wait to bring you more, man, and just keep growing this community. And we've got so much to be thankful for and so much to look forward to. This year has just been crazy, man. Looking back on 2025, it's been unreal. It's been mind blowing. Man, let's jump into, kind of a recap of 2025. What a year, dude. We've had so many developments in so many areas. And just if I got asked at the end of 2024 what this was going to be in 2025 or what the opportunities we'd have here at the podcast and Light the Fire Outdoors, I couldn't have listed not even half of these. I had some goals, man, but the goals got far exceeded and just opportunities far exceeded us here. And we had some major awesome developments, man. Obviously our show has grown, the Prayin Slayin Podcast. We added a few new segments to that, which more to come on that as well. Our mission and our impact, the amount of impact that we're able to commit to our mission of supporting veterans and conservation projects in local communities across the USA. Here at Light the Fire Outdoors, that's our root of our mission. 10% of all of our proceeds across the board, whether it's podcasts, Light the Fire Outdoors, whatever, goes to that impact mission. And we've expanded that and launched some awesome new things that we'll get to later with that. That was amazing just to look back and go, holy crap, like that's the impact we get to have across the board in those areas is just mind blowing. And I couldn't have told you what that number was going to be or what that impact was going to be. But we've got to do some awesome things there. The network grew, we're still growing. We added Hunting the Frontlines podcast with Justin Wilson to our Prayin Slayin Podcast network to expand what we're doing here at Prayin Slayin. And we're going to actually grow that a little bit more here in 26. There's more to come on that. Our partnerships, whether it be DEADNUTS Outdoors, there's some new ones in the works, so stay tuned for more from 2026. But our main bread and butter partner, DEADNUTS Outdoors, man, watching them grow and helping them grow has been an amazing thing. And then that impact, man, the impact's the exciting piece. I just got done doing a whole big chunk of this yesterday evening, pounding away on it to start showcasing what we're doing here in a new way. And I'm excited to share more about that because at the end of the day, this whole podcast is about building community and having an impact for veterans and conservation. And we are doing that, and you guys are supporting that. And it's just been fun to see what's going on there. So first off, let's start off with our partners who make this all possible. DEADNUTS Outdoors, the only 2D target company on the market. These guys make 100% made in the USA, 2D animal targets. And basically they allow any backstop you have to be as real of an animal target as you could possibly think of. So full-size elk, moose, bighorn sheep. One of my new favorites is the Rocky Mountain goat. Just literally any animal you can imagine that you want to go hunt. You don't have a reason now to not practice as real as it gets reps in the backyard with your gunner bow or at the range with your gunner bow than getting a DEADNUTS target. So these guys are just awesome. And we've had the incredible opportunity to work hand in hand with these guys to just establish their grassroots presence in the industry. We've set up some amazing conservation partnerships. We're getting into retailers nationwide. It's been awesome to watch that happen. They're starting to grow on the grassroots team side level, getting some ambassadors out there. And then also, bringing in some sales support too to help just expand that dealer network that's just growing like wildfire. So just been an awesome year to watch that, man. And it's been incredible to know that they've got our back and to work with the Daniels family. Again, they're 100% made in the USA out of Washington State, family owned and operated, got some amazing employees over there. Um, just to work with such amazing people has been like the biggest blessing of my professional life. It's I've been around the industry a while, and I've never met a family and people and employees who are quite like these people. It's truly amazing. And I couldn't be more proud to be a partner of theirs and to be a part of, the DEADNUTS family at the end of the day and what they're doing. And to know that we've got people like that support what we do to the fullest extent. And it's just amazing. It's an amazing, amazing partnership. And I'm so blessed and so thankful for that and what they do. And it's amazing. So huge thank you to our partners, DEADNUTS Outdoors. And I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see what we do with those guys in 2026 to help them expand to new levels. And we've already got some awesome plans, some really cool ideas. I am stoked about the conservation program we're putting together over here. It's going to be awesome. That's kind of my specialty and my baby. So I'm really jacked to see what we do there and rock and roll, baby. So shout out to DEADNUTS. Cheers to DEADNUTS. Congrats on an awesome year, guys. And thank you for an awesome year as well and all the support you've put behind us through Light the Fire Outdoors and the Prayin Slayin Podcast Network. It's been awesome. And on the network note, we did that this year, man. We launched and we spread from just a single Prayin Slayin podcast about sharing cool hunting stories into a full-fledged podcast network. We actually have, I started the Prayin Slayin podcast, and into this year, I knew I had some ideas of what I wanted to do and kind of areas I wanted to touch. Obviously, conservation, veterans, and hunting stories was really the bread and butter of this, but what we wanted to bring to the table was the blue collar community that makes up the hunting world is what we want to call attention to, man. There isn't a single business out there. I don't care how cool they think they are. There isn't a single conservation group out there. There isn't a single, really anything out there in the hunting space that isn't there because of customers and listeners just like you guys. So why would I want to have maybe a CEO? There's a place and time for CEOs to be on a podcast or some marketing guy to be on a podcast or whatever. Let's advertise and talk about products, man. But I want to hear like stories of the Joe Blows that are on all these Facebook pages else that has an awesome hunting story to share, man. And I've been blessed to be able to record a bunch of these now and just bring the hunting community to the surface, and the blue collar guys and gals who make up the hunting industry is what this show is all about. We are the hunting industry at the end of the day, and we want to hear stories from everybody just like you. That kind of that old kickback story that your grandpa might tell you is what we're trying to capture here for years to come. And through that, obviously we want to touch veterans and conservation as well. So we had a series of conservation guests on from several different organizations. We've had our Operation Hunt series, which has also kind of covered some of the veteran groups that are out there, and veteran-led groups that support the conservation space, but primarily through veterans and providing veterans opportunities. Had some really cool things with that, Index Archery being one of them. HHA USA is another one. We've had NWTF representatives on here. I'm still trying to get these Whitetails Unlimited guys out of the bag and get them on. But yeah, anyway, we're going to have more conservation guests into the new year, but we had some really awesome episodes. So go back and listen to those if you haven't to learn more about some great conservation groups, American Bear Foundation, Rocky Mountain Goat Alliance with Kendrick. Man, it's just been an awesome year. They're coming to me as I'm talking about it. So that's been awesome. But the veteran side of things, man, the more episodes I got to record with vets in similar fashion. Hey, let's learn a little bit about your military history. What made you want to join the military? Let's hear and learn about you and your lifestyle and the hardships of that military lifestyle that maybe not everybody understands. And also, let's hear this awesome hunting story that you have to share about this really cool buck or whatever you got this year. We got more episodes in the hopper. I really wanted to expand that in a way, and ultimately, my heart was led to start it as its own podcast. So what we're going to be doing this year, where it was a segment as Operation Hunt, was a segment inside of Prayin Slayin. We are breaking that off officially, and we are setting it aside, and it is now going to be its own standalone podcast in the Prayin Slayin Podcast Network. So I'm just ultra jacked about that, man. And then, of course, we brought on Mr. Justin Wilson and his podcast concept of Hunting the Frontlines. And that has been so amazing to get Justin's just an awesome dude, man. And I hope one day each of you listeners, even though I know it's not going to be a reality, will have the chance to shake this dude's hand and have an awesome conversation with him. I have so much fun every time him and I hop on the phone, and it usually results in a longer conversation than probably either of us bargained for. But it's just he's become an awesome friend of mine, and I've known him for years. And he launched his own podcast, and he was the very first network podcast that we had outside of Prayin Slayin, and it's Hunting the Frontlines. And so his podcast, again, for those of you who haven't listened, go check it out. Hunting the Frontlines podcast is all about giving veterans and active duty members stationed nationwide or worldwide a leg up and a resource at the end of the day to navigate the intricacies of hunting all these new places whenever they get stationed somewhere. So like I'm a good example. I'm from Iowa, born and raised. I understand deer and turkey hunting in the state of Iowa. However, we've been stationed in Virginia and Montana and then Maryland and now Texas and getting ready to go to Alabama this year. So long story short is our ability to hunt nationwide is awesome. The learning curve every single time we move is not so awesome. And it takes a while and it takes a lot of investment, a lot of handshakes and everything else to really navigate the systems every time you move. Justin, being a 20-year retired Army vet himself, he's been all over the country. He's been all over the world. He's met some amazing buddies who are all hunters and fishermen who are ultimately, through his podcast and his guest episodes, they're all dedicated to a certain base or a certain area or state, I guess, that hosts a base, or in some cases, there'll be other countries, and helping you navigate the intricacies of getting started hunting and fishing in those places, what opportunities are available, how do you navigate the system, certain places you've got to go do certain things to get approved to hunt. Every state is different when it comes to veteran hunting and fishing license regulations and things like that, some more friendly than others. Yeah, it's a big world and it's a big lift, and there's a lot of opportunity for veterans and active duty members to hunt and fish and have access to outdoor recreation. In most places, we're blessed to be in this country and have those opportunities, but navigating them can be tough, and they're not always the best advertised. So Justin's whole goal with Hunting the Frontlines is to shorten that learning curve. Hopefully, here in the next year or two, there's going to be enough episodes out there where if you're stationed somewhere here in the States, hopefully you've got a podcast to listen to that'll help you get a leg up and what that learning curve is and give you some resources of where to start. Gear to gear is a big thing. He wants to cover a lot of gear stuff. Hunting Montana is light years different than hunting Iowa or the East Coast where we've been, or hell, hunting here in Texas. Talk about a bunch of gear you don't need when it's 85 degrees in the wintertime hunting in a saddle. So yeah, man, Justin's awesome dude, 20-year Army vet, started his own podcast. He's got his 6 months in, and he is ready to rock and roll here in 26 and to just elevate what he's doing there. And we're so proud to have him on. And I really couldn't think of a better guy to chief that podcast. And what a cool concept for a podcast, man. So check out Hunting the Frontlines with Justin Wilson if you haven't yet. It is an awesome podcast, and his is growing like wildfire, dude. Like every day I get 4 to 5 notifications about new followers, new subscribers, over at Spotify and the different platforms we're hosted on. And you can always check out all the podcasts and podcast networks that we're going to be hosting over at lightthefireoutdoors.com. There's a podcast tab. All the podcasts will be listed there. And I think the top 2 or 3 episodes of the latest 2 or 3 episodes from each podcast are actually going to be listed there as well. So go check them out, lightthefireoutdoors.com. Check out all the podcasts in the network that we'll be adding Operation Hunt here shortly as we get that kicked off for the 2026 year. And then, of course, Hunting the Frontlines and Prayin and Slayin are going to be there. Yeah, man. And then to cap off the network podcast things here is the segments that we're going to keep into the Prayin and Slayin podcast are obviously the blue collar guys and gals that make the hunting industry. We want to hear your stories. And so you might be getting inbox messages from me personally or some of our helpers out there soliciting your story. If you post it on Facebook, there's a good chance we might run across it. And if so, check your DMs because we want to hear that story and we want to schedule you for a guest slot on the Prayin and Slayin podcast. We're also going to continue on the Operation Trailhead. I've gotten so much awesome feedback and it means a lot. It's something that it's been put on my heart for a long time, man. I've been keeping basically like a testimonial notebook of little things that just happened in my life or hit me, in my life, where it's just kind of like God gives you a message and how it could, a message that impacts my life directly, but then, some sort of an anecdotal opportunity to share that. And I've gotten just a whole ton of these written down. And so I felt led to share those, and we're calling it Operation Trailhead, but basically little nuggets of life, that's calling on our heart to share. And hopefully it impacts your life in some way, or maybe it'll reach that one person that needed to hear it that day. That's kind of the goal with Operation Trailhead. A really, really short, 2 to 5 minute episodes, but we're stoked to be continuing those. So you're going to have the hunting stories, hearing from people in the blue collar community, helping build the hunting community and get a chance to get to know different people that you may never have spoken to. And then also the Operation Trailhead is going to continue on. And yeah, we've been getting some amazing feedback on that. And it was something I was nervous to do, to be flat honest with you. Kind of vulnerable for me to start putting out there a totally different direction than just talking to people about hunting stuff. But it's been good and it's been impacting people, and that's what this whole thing's about, man, is building community and building better people. And if we can be a small part of doing that for somebody, amazing. And it sounds like it's reaching people, so we're going to continue that as well. But man, if you would have asked me, hey, dude, are you ever going to get into making your own hunting product? I probably would have said no, depending on what it is. I've had some ideas over the years, but we actually had one come to fruition this year, and I'm just jacked about it. It's called the knee bag. It's patent pending right now status. But yeah, man, the knee bag came from an idea that I had when I went saddle hunting, and 3 days in, my knees were killing me, and that was the weirdest thing to me was of all the places I thought I'd have aches and pains from saddle hunting, I didn't think it would be my knees. And it's a result of all the pressure and bark rubbing and fabric pulling and twisting on your skin and things when you're saddle hunting, you're facing the tree. So when you take breaks to rest your legs, you swing your body into the tree and your knees are the first thing that impacts, and it's usually resting on your knees. And boy, that'll wear you out, especially after a few days. So anyway, I found a solution that I had in my own garage that seemed to work, but I'm like, dude, this could actually maybe tweak this, tweak that, add this, add that, take this away. And all of a sudden you have a really cool, totally custom for anybody solution for knee comfort, and introduce the knee bag. So if you haven't checked it out, go over to lightfireoutdoors.com under our gear section, and you'll be able to go on the knee bag and see it. These things are super awesome, dude. They're made out of 500D or 1000D Cordura. So they're totally weatherproof. They're just bomb-proof when it comes to the fabric strength, especially for something that's got to be abrasive resistant for trees and, guys hammering it with their knees and stuff like that. They strap to your body or the tree, and there's comfort options for the body mounting system or strapping it to a tree. It's super easy, and it's designed to be custom for anybody. Ultra lightweight, less than 8 ounces in most cases, depending on the Cordura fabric. So 8 to 9 ounces total. Just awesome, man. And the response has been amazing. So these are 100% made in the USA. They're 100% made by veterans, which is something that we could look to continue, especially as we scale this, continue that mission. And we have some partners in mind to do that with. And we're so stoked for that opportunity when it comes. But yeah, go check out the knee bag, man. We've had dozens and dozens of customers buy these this year. And we actually got into our first ever dealer account, which was just sick, dude. And actually, it resulted from an Operation Hunt podcast. And one of the guys that I've known for years, Mike Unruh over at Ridge to River Outdoors out of Missouri, he's a veteran owned and operated outdoors retail business. So he retails different products. And I just asked him, like, hey, dude, do you happen to sell any mobile saddle, mobile hunting gear? And he's like, yeah, I carry these couple lines. And I was like, hey, check this out. What do you think? And he's like, yeah, man, I could definitely take a few of those and put them in inventory. So long story short, veteran to veteran connection, and like what a better fit for something that's 100% made in the USA by veterans, from a veteran owned and operated company to then partner with a veteran owned and operated retail business to be the first ever dealer. So just jacked for that. So go check them out at Ridge to River Outdoors. It's called the Knee Bag, and or check them out on our website. And we have a few partner codes out there as well. I'll go ahead and share them here. If you want to get 10% off a knee bag at lightfireoutdoors.com, you can use code ENDEX, ENDEX. And that it gives you a discount, but it also gives a kickback to Index Archery, which is a group. Go listen to the podcast episode on Index Archery at Prayin Slayin Podcast. And they are a group of veterans that get veterans who are struggling with PTS into archery, and then as a form of therapy. And it's a really cool, they've got an amazing background story and a startup story. And the owner, Jay, he's just got an awesome testimonial there of kind of where it came from and how it started. I've had the chance to meet several of the reps here now, and go do some shooting with those guys and get to know them. And it's just an awesome community of vets helping vets. Just a great program. So we wanted to partner with those guys this year, and we did that after having Jay on the podcast. And we just launched the knee bag as well, so it was good timing. But yeah, use code INDEX at lightfireoutdoors.com to get yourself 10% off, and a kickback also on top of your 10% off. A kickback goes to Index Archery to support those guys directly with our 10% fund. So really, really cool stuff there. Yeah, and we're stoked about it. And we have way better feeling knees now, and that's amazing. So save your knees on those trees, get yourself a knee bag. I think you're probably gonna hear some knee bag ads. I'm getting some creative ideas in my head now just talking about it. So yeah, man, I mean, beyond the podcast, like I said, Light the Fire Outdoors has had a banner year, expanded some partnerships that we already had. We're in the works right now, kind of at that contract phase of figuring out what partnerships are going to look like with a couple new partners here coming up soon. And we're adding some stuff to our arsenal over at Light the Fire Outdoors too. So if you're a small, our ideally American made or veteran owned and operated business, we'd love to talk to you about how we can help you get a leg up in the industry, get started establishing your grassroots footprint, build grassroots programs, whatever. Any of those things, contact us. You can contact us on the website. Pretty easy to find our contact information there. But yeah, we'd love to help you out. And then also, yeah, we've got some new partnerships coming, and we've also added some new stuff of how we can help businesses out. And we're leveraging the AI arm that some people are scared about, some people are taking advantage of. But there's some really, really cool things that we got into this year and partnered with this year. We launched Agentic Outdoors, LTFO Agentic Outdoors, and that's going to help brands really just help them do things better to support their customer base, and do things better in a lot of different ways, and support the team that they have. So there's some really cool solutions with that coming. More to come on that once we get our first couple partnerships officially full blown off the ground. But again, if you're looking for some different solutions or have some problems that you might just want to pick my brain about how to solve or how to help, or if there's a way that we can help you expand a leg in your business or establish a grassroots footprint in your business, let us know. We'd love to help. That's what we're here for, man. That's what Light the Fire Outdoors is about, is taking our knowledge base of over a decade in the industry, almost 12 or 13 years now total in the industry, and leveraging that to help you guys do what you do and do it better. So get a hold of us. We'd love to help you out if we can. And we just had some awesome partnerships, like I said, with DEADNUTS Outdoors, got a couple more in the hopper, and we're getting ready to launch a whole new leg of this. That's just going to take this industry and customer experiences to the whole new level. And that's what I love to do, build customer experiences. Another thing too, you might have noticed is that the last recorded episode prior to this one was like November 12th or 15th, I think, is when we launched it. And then, of course, you got Thanksgiving that landed on the week that we were supposed to launch the next one. And then December was a whirlwind. So for those of you who don't know, our family's expanding. And with that, there's a lot of getting ready to do. And we had a ton of family visiting, which is amazing. Being a military family, our family time is limited at best. And this year we were fortunate enough to have a bunch of family come and visit us over November and December. And it was just a time to say, hey, you know what? We put in some badass work this year. I'm going to take advantage of this time with the family and then just totally sign off a little bit too. So that was a good opportunity to take. And just thank you guys for being patient with us. I know if you guys are dedicated followers of the podcast, every other week it's religious. We launch through this year, but we did take about that second half of November, and we took all of December off just to spend time focused, get ready for some big family changes here coming up in 2026 for us personally, and then also take advantage of the time that we got to spend with our family that we don't always get a ton of, especially with these short tours we've had, man. It was like 2 years in 2 years in Maryland, 1 year here in Texas, and it's just been a fast whirlwind of things. And yeah, it was a huge blessing to be able to spend that time with friends and family over the holiday season here. And thank you guys for that break that we got to enjoy, and we can't wait to just jump into this thing full steam ahead, fully refreshed and ready to rock here in 26 with you guys. We do have some new swag coming. Again, your guys' support has been amazing. We've actually sold out of our Prayin and Slayin hats. I think we've got one or maybe two of the gray ones left. So if you want a Prayin and Slayin a first edition hat, get it. Once they're gone, they're gone. They're there on the website. We still have the LTFO beanies. Perfect season for those, dude. Those merino wool beanies. I ordered a bunch of them when we first did it, and they are killer. Like, you want a warm beanie that's ultra light, doesn't stink. That wool is amazing. Go get yourself one. Great time of year for it. We have black or gray. They support our initiative I'm going to talk about here next. But again, they support our veterans and conservation support mission here at Light the Fire Outdoors and Prayin and Slayin. And you look good wearing them. I know there's a lot of people posting pictures with them, and you guys just look good. And it feels good to know that your purchase makes you feel good, and it goes back to something bigger with veterans and conservation. But yeah, so we'll have some new swag, new hats, possibly some shirts actually this year as well. So stay tuned with the podcast, but also with Light the Fire Outdoors for some more stuff coming on that. We hope to bring some pretty cool stuff to you guys to again, make you look good and make you feel good about giving back to something bigger than yourself. And with that, dude, I'm stoked. I was up late last night till almost midnight putting this together. And we have officially launched what we are coining the License to Kill initiative. It's awesome. I love that. That's probably going to be printed on a t-shirt somewhere. But anyway, License to Kill initiative is our dedicated give back program here at Light the Fire Outdoors. It's been something I've been trying to navigate and figure out how to do. And I just finally pulled the trigger and said, you know what, we're launching it. Eventually we hope to turn this into a full-blown nonprofit, but because we already have a dedicated fund from every purchase or every partner, retainer or whatever we have going on that goes back to our give back programs anyway, we're launching it. So the License to Kill initiative is basically, at the end of the day, you go buy a hat from Light the Fire Outdoors or you buy something, 10% of that, or a knee bag, 10% of that purchase goes right back into our give back fund for veterans and conservation projects. And what we do with those funds, one of the things that we've been called to do with those funds is buy hunting and fishing licenses for veterans. The whole concept is to give back to those who served, help them provide for their families in a bigger way, help them save some money on some groceries. And it's a small thing that we can do, but we hope to expand that into a way bigger thing in the future. But right now, we pulled the trigger, and we've got 5 veteran families whose veterans have been supported and sponsored. We're going to be reimbursing some because they've jumped ahead of the gun, and before we could get to this, they already bought their licenses. But yeah, we're sponsoring or reimbursing veteran hunting and fishing licenses across the country. And you can actually nominate vets now on the website. What I was doing last night is building the whole website infrastructure for this. And then also navigating some of the first sponsees that were nominated, communicating with them about the program and getting the fees worked out and everything else. So yeah, you support Light the Fire Outdoors, and we take part of your support and we give it back to veterans, and you're actually providing food to put on veterans' tables through hunting and fishing licenses and supporting conservation through those purchase of hunting and fishing licenses as well. So just it's really cool. I'm just, I don't know, I'm pumped about this, man. It's like hard to find the words to talk about it. I was so stoked putting that together on the website yesterday. And yeah, so now you know a little bit more about where some of these things go to. Every time we move, we try to find a veteran or conservation cause to give back to. We've replaced and repaired several veterans mailboxes. We've actually installed some fishing line recycling containers on our Sunfish Pond project back in Maryland. We've done landscaping work with Pheasants Forever, seedling plots for wildflowers and native wildflower projects, but we've done that to help landscape veterans' properties and local parks. We've done fishing line and trash cleanup at different public hunting areas with your guys' support. And now we have the License to Kill initiative, where we're going to be providing just real impact nationwide for as many people as we possibly can. The more support we get, the further this is going to go. And we're going to be able to support more and more vets through sponsoring their hunting and fishing license. So we do have a spot on the website. If you go to lightthefireoutdoors.com, click on the impact page, you'll see it all there. You can see the veterans we've sponsored for the 2026 season. And there's going to be some stats that I'm just stoked to watch those stats grow of the impact of the program as we continue this year after year. And there's a spot where you can actually nominate a veteran as well to have us do this for them next year. And we're stoked to be able to just do as much as we possibly can with the support that we can give. And yeah, maybe one day we'll turn this into a nonprofit and it will go even further, which is the ultimate goal. But for now, we're doing License to Kill the old-fashioned grassroots way, which is true to Light the Fire Outdoors form. And we're specialists in that grassroots arena, man. So yeah, so thankful that you guys have supported us in a way, and we've finally been able to do something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and actually just clicking the button to publish that website page yesterday and reorganize some of the stuff on there for it was just amazing. And to have a name for it for the Give Back program, License to Kill initiative. Yeah, so look out for some t-shirts on that. I'm pretty jacked about the name too. So anyway, awesome stuff, man. And I really can't thank you guys enough because you guys have all been a part of it. If you're wearing a Light the Fire Outdoors hat or shirt out there, if you've got the Prayin and Slayin Rocks glasses for the decanters, if you've got the beanie keeping your head warm in the stand this season, or man, maybe you've just listened to the podcast, or maybe you bought an e-bag, you guys are all part of it, man. And even just listening to this podcast helps us. So thank you so much for your support and helping us give back to veterans that way. And it's all part of building the community that we want to build here. A grassroots community of people who care about each other, want the best for each other, want the best for this country, and want to just rock and roll in the outdoors world and make the world a better place through it, man. So that's what we are all about, dude. So I just can't thank you guys enough. The 2025 year we had, I feel like I might have missed some things. It's just been a whirlwind year. through the partnership growth we've had, the network growth we've had, Justin Wilson's podcast, the knee bag launch, the License to Kill initiative, all this stuff, dude, has just been wild, wild to be a part of, and just know that like, I don't know, the story behind it all is even more special to me, man. So just to know that we get to do this, and you guys are also a part of it, is just the most awesome thing I think I've ever been a part of. So special, so cool. And it's a huge slap on the back and a huge high five to each and every one of you guys. And a thank you to each and every one of you guys who've listened and who've supported us along the way, who continue to support us. And even the guys and gals who just reached out and said, dude, keep doing what you're doing. That's pretty awesome. So you're awesome. We can't wait to keep this 2026 snowball rolling. I don't even want to guess what the end of 2026 is going to look like compared to now, because of what 2025 was. All I know is that we're going to keep this wagon rocking, dude, and we're going to go down the tracks, and we're going to continue to build this grassroots hunting community of guys and gals, and continue to build the greatest collection of hunting stories that this world has ever heard. That's the Prayin and Slayin mission, and to continue to give back to veterans and conservation support projects is the Light the Fire Outdoors mission, baby. So let's keep doing it. Thank you guys for being a part of it. We love you guys so much. Appreciate you like you wouldn't ever understand. And yeah, we will see you guys on the next episode of the Prayin and Slayin Podcast, the Operation Hunt Podcast, the Hunting the Frontlines Podcast. And thank you for just listening to all the podcasts in the Prayin and Slayin Podcast Network. This has been Aaron, over and out.